All right, guys, today I have an exciting video. A lot of you asked me the question, what is it like living in Tucson versus Phoenix? Well, today I have a special guest who's going to be filling this chair right here. And this is a friend, Gary. I actually met him at the gym in Peoria, and he has lived in both places. So he is going to share with you the things that he likes about the areas, things he doesn't like about the areas, to really give you a perspective of what it's like to live in each location. Stay tuned. We will be right back. Hi, I'm Kelley Norton, your AZ Realty lady at EXP Realty. Count on me for all things Arizona real estate. Welcome to my channel. If this is your first time, I want to introduce myself. I'm Kelley Norton. I'm known as the AZ Realty lady. I'm also the owner of the Arizona Living Group here at EXP Realty and an associate broker here. Guys, I've lived in the Valley for my entire life, and I've sold real estate for over 23 years. But a lot of you are kind of wondering what it's like living in another city. So today I have Gary with me, and he's going to tell you what it's like living in Tucson and living in Phoenix. So, hey Gary, how's it going?
It's going great.
All right,
Yeah.
all right.
Thanks for inviting me.
Yes, of course. So, Gary, how long did you live in the Tucson area, and how long have you lived in the Phoenix area?
So I'm an Arizona native, born in Tucson, Arizona. I lived down there for 35 years, and actually a little over 35 years, and then relocated up to Phoenix and been up in Phoenix now for 12 years.
All right. So this guy knows both areas. He can definitely answer some questions. So I'm just going to fire away at a couple things. So overall, as an adult, because part of that obviously was childhood. So, right, well, still a kid at heart.
Sure.
So what do you think as an adult is your favorite thing in each area?
Wow, that's a great question. So,
No pressure.
Right. So, Tucson and Phoenix are similar in certain ways. They both have some beautiful terrain, beautiful surrounding mountains, clear blue skies. So a lot of really cool stuff. For me, Tucson, if I was to explain it to somebody, Tucson is, it's kind of a big small town feel. So it's got, it's got all the stuff you need in a big city or whatnot, good transportation, a lot of stores, whatnot, but it's a little bit more small town vibe in that, there's only one of, or a couple certain stores, and some of them are closed on Sundays. The roads are not quite as huge throughways and whatnot, so it's a little bit trickier getting around.
Yeah.
It's, I guess the vibe is kind of a little bit more, slower pace, if you will. You've got more artistic type people, artists,
Yeah.
and
I would agree with
some culture and stuff like
A lot
that.
of locally owned businesses there as well.
Right, right. Less corporate.
Yes.
You don't have big industry there, so the job market's a little bit different. It doesn't bring a lot of that type blue collar workers in and so forth. So just a little bit more, I don't know, kind of homey, if you will.
Okay.
Whereas Phoenix, on the other hand, big city. You got a lot going on. For one thing for me, Phoenix, the way they laid out the roads and getting around is so much easier, right? You have numbers for east and west. You got names for north and south. You got a pretty good idea where you're at, no matter where you're at.
Big grid. If you're not familiar, it's just a big giant grid.
Where Tucson, a little bit more, you're gonna kind of go around the hills through the, it's a little bit trickier. Some people like that, some people. Like for me, the transition was I wanted more business, more, just more. And so that's why I ended up moving up to Phoenix.
Makes sense. So I have a lot of friends also that went to college there and stayed there. So they went to the U of A. We have ASU here in Tempe, go Devils. My son goes to ASU, so if you've seen any of my videos, you might have seen me mention that. So big Sun Devil fan here. But a lot of my friends did go to U of A. Being a Valley native, I had friends that went to all the Arizona colleges. So NAU is the one that's up in Flagstaff. So when I would go down there and visit, it was some of these same restaurants, they're still running today by the same family, just different family members running it. but a lot of that real kind of small town local feel, just like you were saying, which I really like. And I think one of the cool things about Tucson, they have beautiful mountains too. I mean, the mountains are stunning.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to say that when I go, I didn't realize it living there, but now being in Phoenix, I go down to Tucson, and I mean, it's dramatic. The scenery is more dramatic,
Yeah.
if that's a word, than it is in here in Phoenix. And you've got Mount Lemmon in the background. You have Push Ridge near Oro Valley, which is a real popular area. And I mean, it's stunning. It's gorgeous. Where we have mountains that surround Phoenix, but they're further out, and so they're not quite nearly as dramatic.
Yeah, you do have a lot of houses that are in some of these areas. In Mount Lemmon, there's homes and cabins nearby. There's skiing on that mountain, and during the summer, they can take that lift and take a view at everything.
Right, 45 minutes up the
Yeah.
hill. You're going from a 2,500 foot elevation. You're going to 7,000 foot. So in the summers, they're open. They've got a nice, I don't know, lodge up top where we can go to the restaurant and whatnot, cool off. And that's 45 minutes.
Right.
That's the other cool thing about Phoenix. 2 hours. You're up in Flagstaff. You're up on the Mongolian Rim, and I mean, you can get out of that heat or go see snow in the winter.
Yeah, a lot of different things that you can do in either area that's pretty close by. And you can see all 4 seasons. So if you're moving from a place where you're afraid you're going to lose all your seasons, we have them. You just have to do a little bit of a drive. In Phoenix, you're just really going to have the cooler weather and the hot weather, and that's kind of what we have. We have a short fall, but the rest of the time it's beautiful.
Yeah,
it's
probably 364 days a year of sun, and it's actually a little bit more than that, but rounding, we'll round it down. We might get one. And I mean, especially when I go to other cities or whatnot, it's cloudy a lot of the time or half the day. Here, it's constantly severe clear is the term we use.
Yeah.
And which makes it feel much more open, much more a larger space. Just again, I'm a pro Arizona guy, so
Yes,
I mean, that's kind of come through.
Right, absolutely. And there's no humidity here. So we might have during monsoons, I feel like it's just a few hours of humidity, and you know that the monsoon is coming, so you get so excited.
Right.
And then by that night, then the temperatures drop drastically. The other night, the high was 111 during the day, and it dropped down to 74 degrees in my backyard with the monsoon that rolled in. It first started in as that dust storm, and then all the rain to follow, and then the next morning was really cool as well. So we can get nice weather in the summer. There's a little bit of humidity we feel right before that, but that usually means that monsoon is going to come in and just drop the weather, which is great. I love it.
Yeah, the other thing is it's not windy very often here, right? I have friends that moved to Miami, that's moved to different places, and they're like, I had no idea the wind all the time. We don't have winds here. It's very rare.
Just
So
like little breezes, sometimes in the mountain communities that we have, like Verrado, and sometimes in Estancia, even in my backyard coming off of the hill, you get a light little breeze, which is just what you need, but you don't get the severe wind like you're talking about. And a lot of my clients have moved here because they had severe wind and they just had no idea. Some of them, they're in places like Oregon and Colorado, and they're moving here because they had no idea that it was that windy. And they don't want it. So we'll take you. Just give me a call.
the other thing is some of the other cities I go to, I visit, San Diego or whatever, it's old buildings, smaller roads and stuff like that. Where Tucson and Phoenix, they're pretty new cities, right? So you've got wider roadways, nice landscaping, gas stations have room to move around in. So that's another thing. And here in Tucson, there's not any real close lakes. But here in Phoenix, in 25 minutes, I'm on Lake Pleasant. Lake Pleasant, right up the road, and there's 5 lakes in the area that are easy to get to.
Right.
So you've got that available, which is pretty nice.
Yeah, in Tucson, is it just Patagonia? Yeah, and then I know a lot of people will make the long drive to Canyon,
right,
and come up that back way.
Or Roosevelt.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So Gary and I both live in Peoria, so we have Lake Pleasant that's, like he said, 25 minutes, and that's from door to boat. Like, you actually be on the water in that time. So, there's just things to do. And you have the lake there, but then in the winter, you can take side-by-sides and go out and run around out in the desert and enjoy the weather and enjoy all the terrain we have. There's so many places that you can take off-road vehicles here in the valley, which is great. How is that in Tucson? Is there a lot of space to do that there too?
Yeah, there's a bunch.
So you can do that in Tucson as well. What about, would you say, opportunity wise, like job opportunities from, say, Tucson versus Phoenix?
Oh, hands down, Phoenix. Hands
Yeah,
down, for sure.
big city.
Right. I mean,
I
Tucson's
keep
great.
that one up.
Right. I mean, it is what it is. So,
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
there's much more big industry here, a lot more going on, we're seeing, especially recently, a lot more growth with like that TSMC chip plant going in.
Yep.
You know, the houses, they are building them as fast as they can. I mean, and you know, water parks and, you know, amusement parks, it's going crazy.
Yeah, huge grand hotels, indoor water parks in some of these hotels, roller coasters going in. I mean, there's so much happening here, and they're calling the area the Simi Valley, right? It's like the new Simi Valley. You're getting a lot of those technology jobs coming here. A lot of warehouses are being housed here, and I've heard that their taxation is different here than that of California. So of course that makes it more beneficial for them to have that here versus California. So one of the many reasons, right?
Right.
Don't get us started on that. So, but we do have a lot of people that are moving here from California for various amount of reasons. And we also have people moving here from, me personally noticing from Oregon, from Washington. Of course, we always have our folks that are coming from the Midwest to get, sometimes they get a second home here. We have the winter visitors that are coming from far East Coast. They are done with the snow. Right now I'm working with 3 people from New York State. So they just absolutely are done with the weather over there and the cost over there. What they can buy for their money here is vastly different than a little apartment that they can get there. It's incredible. And costs are a lot different. When you're buying a home here versus buying a home in New York you also have an attorney that does your escrow. Here we have title and escrow, so it's an actual escrow company, title officer. It's a little bit different than in New York. So kind of a couple of differences.
Less attorneys are better,
yes,
in my book. So
unless you're
sorry, attorneys.
No. So what about, let's see, I know you have a daughter. So you've had your daughter here in Arizona only, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So as far as what you know, schools or anything, you know, Tucson versus Phoenix, what do you know about the differences there?
You know, they're both, they both have good schools, good school districts to be in, and of course some that you don't want to be in. So
right.
I think it's comparable,
Different
right?
locations,
Yeah.
right. And we also have charter schools here too. So if somebody wants something of more of that like smaller scale, different ratios, you know, students to teacher, there are charter schools, there's private schools, there's also, you know, different religion schools. So it just depends on what you're looking for. And if you need information on this, I'm happy to send you. We have different catalogs and different buyer advisory documents, different disclosure documents for anything that you could have a question about for your upcoming relocation or move. So if I can help you with that, of course, let me know. We also have comparisons from like one community to another, telling you what your HOA fees are, what the amenities are in different communities, what the average price is, how many homes are in the community. So if something like that is of interest to you, of course, let me know, and I'd be happy to get that over to you. You can hit contact us on the website, or you can call or text, and our information is right on the screen here for you.
The other thing that I like about Phoenix is it's more centrally located in Arizona, right? So all the places I go to, like Vegas, you know, if I'm going to San Diego, if I'm going to Mexico, I mean, you know, a lot of people kind of knock Arizona by not having any water, you know, other than the lakes. But for us, I grew up going down into Mexico. It's an hour on the south side of the border and a beautiful ocean in the Gulf of California. And it's incredible down there. The water's warm, it's calm, it's nice down there. I mean, I go to San Diego and I'm like, you know, what is this?
Yeah.
So
he's absolutely right. I don't like San Diego because I feel like it's dirty. The beaches there are dirty. You go to Rocky Point and everything's clean.
Right. Gorgeous. No seaweed all over. You don't have thousands of people that you're working around.
Yes.
So I love it down there. You know, going into Mexico takes a little bit getting used to. You got to kind of be up for it. But I mean, it's nice. So for me, being in Phoenix, everything that I do is closer, right? Flagstaff, wherever, right? There's in Tucson, things Mexico was a little bit longer, but everything else, Vegas, everything, I had to come through Phoenix and then go to where I'm at. So it added another hour and a half, 2 hours on each trip. So.
And one of the things too is that a lot of my friends that still live in Tucson, they come to Phoenix to get to the airport.
Right.
100%. And so that's kind of the drag. Where here, I mean, most areas within 40 minutes, 45 minutes, you can get to the airport. So there's some areas that are further out that might be an hour, but for the most part, even from Buckeyes, Surprise, Peoria, you're 40, 45 minutes max. You know,
yeah, and the flights out of Tucson, because it's a smaller airport, you always have connecting flights, right? You're always going to Houston. You're always going to Denver to make a connection, where here in Phoenix out of Sky Harbor, you know, international, you can go to Cabo straight, or you can go to Hawaii straight through, no stops, right? So it's pretty nice.
Mexico again. He likes Mexico. So what about like golfing? You know, doing outdoor activities. We talked about lakes. We talked about mountains. How about hiking, golfing for people that like to do stuff outdoors?
Right. You know, to be honest, I haven't gotten into golfing. I want to get into golfing. I just haven't done it. So I can't really speak to that. I have a lot of friends that golf and they're like, it's amazing. There's so many amazing courses, more so in Phoenix. Definitely a lot of beautiful courses.
Yeah.
In Tucson, there's a handful of them for sure, but nothing like you have up here.
Right. Yeah, I feel like no matter where you live, you could be at a golf course within 10 minutes.
And a beautiful golf course. Right? Yeah.
Yes, absolutely.
Not just flat. We're talking through the mountains or whatever, gorgeous scenery.
So would there be anything that would get you to move back to Tucson?
Wow, that's a good question. I always tell everybody, no, I would not move back to Tucson. But I have a lot of friends and family down there. So that would be the only reason I would move back.
For the people. Mm-hmm. All right. Awesome. Well, thank you so much. I appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Gary, everyone.
My pleasure.
Well, thank you so much for watching the video. And if there's any other questions that you might have about comparing Phoenix versus Tucson, feel free to reach out. There's all age communities in both areas. There's 55 plus in both areas. I definitely think that there's a lot more to choose from in the Phoenix area for your active adult 55 plus, and a lot of those big master plan communities for all age. I feel like there's more of those in the Phoenix area than there are in the Tucson area. But maybe you want a little bit of a slower vibe, and maybe there's a job that's taking you to the Tucson area. Not a problem. Reach out. I have agents in the Tucson area. We also have agents here in the Valley. And if you are looking to sell your home, no matter where you are in the United States and in Mexico or Canada, we do have referral partners that we work with that help our clients get their homes sold that we trust and do a great job. So please feel free to reach out, and don't forget, subscribe to the channel and click that little bell at the top. That way you are notified when I put up new videos. Thank you again for watching. Until next time, guys. Thank you.
Bye.